Started. How was your weekend? Anything? So you got a haircut?
Yes.
Alright. How was pickleball?
It was good. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, what was the final scores?
We were split. We split 2 matches.
Okay. Cool. What you do?
I supported I went to go see my sister's high school soccer team. Well, but the guys, they made it to state.
Oh, they made it to state.
Yeah, but they got second place.
Second one. Not bad, right? How was your weekend?
Good, I drove to, Urbana,
Oh, Champagne.
I had a pop-up event. Like a just-
On the campus?
Not on campus, but,
Right outside.
yeah, with like a lot of students.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a nice drive. I like Atlanta. Okay, this week we have that Instagram assignment, so make sure you continue to work on that, right? Building a successful Instagram campaign and advertisement. This week we'll look at interactive digital media. I think previously we looked at radio and television, how that all works in terms of interactive media, but here we'll kind of focus more on Google, right, search engines, Bing, Yahoo, yes.
Does the Instagram assignment have to be on our business, or can you choose the?
No, you can choose of your own. It would be better, I would say, to do surveys, right? Because it really is executing something that surveys. Well, first of all, the surveys have an Instagram page. That's a good surveys, right? Try to get as creative as possible. And then maybe, you can share it with us, right? We could show it on the screen or something as well too. And if you talk to your group, Megan, so you could do one for Johnny's. Yeah, so we'll look at search engine optimization, search engine marketing, Google Ads, all the social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, how it all evolves, how it all kind of works, and how to be successful at it, right? Because it's not as easy as it seems. And the different objectives that one can have for each one of these methods and protocols. All right, so in this chapter, we're looking to discuss opportunities and challenges presented by digital interactive media, the evolution of it, how the internet sort of evolved. Explain how the internet audience is measured. So we'll look at some analytics, key performance indicators, make sure that we're successful in what we're doing, or if we need to go back. Programmatic advertising, various kinds of digital advertising, debate the pros and cons of the internet as an advertising media. Right, so we started off with traditional at the beginning of this term. We try to understand what the theory of marketing is from a traditional standpoint. Tradition just means, hey, mostly print. You get labels on cans back in the day, boxes, items, things that had evoked some sort of message, some sort of emotional appeal that resonated with a particular audience, right? From there, we got a little bit more scientific, technical with it. We started to introduce electronic mediums, radios, televisions, etc. And now we've advanced. Right, so technology's roles in disrupting advertising's practices, right? Such as television remote, right? Cable television, right? The emergence of it. Right, we're just giving people more options here. Cable television, like, hey, these are whole new ways that we can disrupt advertising practices. And they'll continue to be disrupted, right? We have AI now. Then we have VCR and recording devices, right? Like, well, they got away because people were in their homes recording things, and advertisers were upset about that, right? And the internet, right? Ways we can get around it. There's what we got ad blockers, right? Pop-up blockers. Paid subscriptions, so we don't want to get advertising to. Who here pays for YouTube Premium? Who uses a lot of YouTube? But you choose to watch the ads, right? And it probably just depends on how much you use, right? Do you pay for any premium services to get rid of ads? Spotify, anything?
I get it with them.
Spotify, right? So it goes for use, how about you? A lot, right? Pay for anything to get rid of advertisements?
Well, I just paid the Apple Music.
Okay. And when you pay for it, you don't get any ads in between the songs or playlists, okay. Yeah, right, so there's ways we can get around things that we don't wanna be bothered with the ads. So the advertisers or us in the future, if we're gonna work in this field, have to come up with new creative ways to say, how do we engage people? If they've gotten very savvy, or if they're paying to get away from our promotions, what do we do, right? All right, so look, and the internet has primarily taken over, right? The internet spawned from where? What sort of entity created the internet as we know it? Yes?
I believe it's the government.
Yeah, you said the military, right? United States military created what we know now as the World Wide Web, right? The internet, connecting devices to different channels and mediums, et cetera, et cetera. But internet takes for almost 40% of all ad spending, right? And mobile ad spending included as well too, right? So here we say the internet is a primacy. Television is still big, right? Because you say we've really integrated the internet into every single thing here, right? So the internet has changed newspapers, magazines, the radios, out of home, cinema, and TV. Unfortunately, look how thin cinema is, right? And hence why cinema is probably dying, because if you're not getting the revenue from people buying the tickets or the concession stands, you're kind of really depending on advertisers giving you a ton of money at the beginning of the movie, so you can convince people to do something or purchase something. All right, some advantages of digital media, right? We see the dramatic growth. It's unlimited, right? Theoretically, we have unlimited potential here with what we could do with digital media. We have the apps, right? We have the devices. We can implement it into the TV programming. We can create apps on the TV, right? We can make things very interactive. People can touch things, right? Have this immersive sort of experience. Maybe we can integrate other devices, headphones, and VR and AR headsets, all of the above, right? Actually, I went to, with the kids last night, I stopped by the Apple store on Michigan and Wacker, a really nice one, and they were giving a big spiel on the Apple Vision, which is really cool. They're very immersive in terms of, especially when it comes to, say, advertising, right, promoting things. Help businesses develop relationships with customers on a global scale. Now we've globalized, we've been able to connect across the planet at the speed of light, in essence, or the speed of causality, in essence, right? And that's allowed us to reach, and it's created cultural exchange, right? We see Japanese culture really embracing American culture, hip hop, right? People trying to dress like that, even in China. So we see that the world is really becoming acculturated to each other to some degree. Digital interactive media are more than computers and internet. Brands are more interested in mobile devices today, and more people across web content on their devices than on computers, right? We are pulling out our phone a couple hundred times a day, looking at it, checking notifications. We get bored, we go on the social media platforms. Based on the algorithms or the people that we follow or things that we like on the platforms, we get this content Is the content just personal content, individuals promoting their pages, or it could be businesses, right? Or things similar to things you've searched before, new content spawning up, right? Based on, say, Instagram, from the algorithm, people you like, things you actually clicked on, right? So mobile devices are really the thing now. Why? Because we don't always have our laptop on us. We don't always have the tablet on us, but we always have our phone on us, pretty much 24 hours a day to some degree. All right, here's by format in the billions, right? Y-axis, we get things like search ads, right? Here we're talking Bing, Google, Yahoo, anything using a search engine. We get display ads, things that are highly visual, just out there promoting some electronic medium. Remember we said classifieds are primarily things that are just written, right? With text for the most part, but some still have visuals, lead generation, mobile messaging, and emails. Right? And we'll look at all of these across the board. We say display, people are more visual, right? So the type of advertisements that we like are things that are primarily visual. We can learn a lot more things we found out just through visual medium instead of even really having things to read. Downsides to that, as a professor, you read a lot of papers over the years and you do see the writing significantly suffer, right? Which means that we don't really read like that anymore, right? We usually just very visual. Why go read the book when you can go on YouTube? Right? And get the content, go on TikTok. Try to learn as quick as possible, but we still know that short-term memory takes a lot of work for it to go long-term, right? You have to, in essence, repeat things many, many times over before you really stick in your brain. The internet, devices that communicate through protocols, right? So we say ISPs, internet service protocols. We have things like the dark web, even the onion router or platform we use called Tor, right? T-O-R, the onion router. And we're talking about they communicate through different protocols, right? Most have an identifiable address. Some of them can be masked in some way. You could say you could download things like a virtual private network to kind of shield your identity, right? If you want to kind of steal some content or something of the sort. The internet was structured as a distributed network, right? Invented by the U.S. military in order to communicate different places around the world with servicemen, with organizations, agencies, et cetera, for all sorts of weapons, systems, things of that nature, right? Traditionally meter structured as a centralized network, which means it would have had a central hub of sort of a place where everything could be kept in place, and then spread out from there, but now we've kind of structured it more distributed. We don't have it in a central location. Right, you say here, well, something would have, all the information would have come back to a centralized network, right? And you say, well, there's some security issues with that, privacy issues, and who wants to have all their information centralized in one place? Distributed networks kind of work better, where you can have information pockets all over. It kind of keeps things more secure in terms of your privacy, your information, communication, and even for the government, corporations, things of that nature. You don't want all your information in a central hub, right? Probably not a good idea, especially if someone can attack that hub, now everything kind of fails. Here you can attack one spot, and you still have information pockets. As a medium, distinctions between digital and traditional media, right? Cost of time and or space. So let me ask you, do you find at all that any of the traditional media, to say your age group, works anymore? Like, do you actually buy because you see things on billboards or magazines or newspapers or bus stations, train stations? find that mostly all of the things you purchase or look into is because of stuff on the phone, the laptop. What do you think? Is there anything out there you still buy from traditional advertisements? Not even downtown, where you see a sign for H&M, Zara, something, maybe? Right, say, hey, it's different for everyone now, right? We have, don't have the time, right? Who has the time to be looking to all this stuff? Who has the time to read through a paper or magazine when you can pull it all up on your phone, right? So they say it's great. Digital media saves us time and or space. And think digital media in terms of billboard. You're like, hey, we still see those old traditional billboards where somebody slapped a big print up there, but then we see the real nice ones where it's electronic. You could just have multiple circulating every 20 seconds or something like that, right? That also counts for digital interactive media. The way people consume it, right? We say, hey, we see the ad on our phone, we just tap it, it'll take us maybe directly to the website where we can purchase it. We can check out all right there in a matter of seconds. Traditional media, not so much. Right? And a relationship between creative and consumers. We've Uberized literally everything. Think about it. We found out that if you make everybody, in theory, almost like a business, right? You make every human being have the ability to be able to promote themselves, to easily create a website, easily kind of start some sort of online business, whether it's legally, illegally, right? It helps the economy, right? Bad thing is, it makes us all really more consumers than we previously were. Now we live in a consumer society where things are really cheap goods, we throw away a lot of things, bad things in the environment, and we just buy things we really don't need anymore. A lot of people still feel empty, right? All the cool stuff we have to buy. So some negatives too, right? But it's changed the relationship between creators and consumers. Now creators are consumers, right? We consume and we create. You probably have your social media platforms and you create content, right? Whether it's just for family or friends, or maybe you're selling something online, right? Maybe you're trying to sell something and you're looking to become some sort of corporation to some degree. Websites define the brand. So who here has, Megan, I know you have the clothing shop, and yours is all set up, right? Website, yada, 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 or you just traditional, just kind of pop up and,
So I don't have a website yet, I just have an Instagram account.
okay. And so for you, you found that, hey, Instagram, since it's such a highly visual platform, it kind of works best for fashion or something like that?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my target market is like this, and I feel like we're all on Instagram, or mostly all on Instagram.
Okay.
I wanna make a website, but it's hard to balance, that with school, sports, my
Yeah.
internship, my job, so like,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. So maybe one day I'll get around to it, but maybe, yeah.
All right, so you say, hey, you know, you could just have you a social media page, right? You can go on there and it has everything you need, right? TikTok has TikTok Shop. What's the point of a website if you got TikTok Shop? I don't need a website, just need TikTok, right? That's my target audience, younger people. Instagram, you say, for my, say, age, probably it's Facebook/Instagram, right? Maybe a little bit more Facebook, because when I was in college, like Instagram came out. I mean, Facebook came out, right? So it's kind of like, you know, for my age, and then maybe say for your age group, it's probably more IG, maybe /TikTok, right? And we're all on TikTok, right? Probably everybody's on TikTok, but how much we're on it. It's probably the younger individuals, probably really on it and really active on it and figuring it out, right? My age group probably figured out Instagram, how to promote things, how to do this. Yours probably figured out Instagram. And young people probably really figured out the TikTok chat. But we say, hey, websites define a brand. You can really captivate the audience using a website, right? A quality one. A few reasons, right? One, you can have on your homepage exactly what you represent, right? We say a quality website helps companies define their brands and entice customers to make immediate purposes, right? I would say purchases. It is conjoining of action and awareness messaging. Campbell's here, which Campbell's Coffee is an award-winning site to just do that. So you can really illustrate simply with some beautiful visuals on your website, right? You can have it laid out at the top, all the different sort of areas you can go search into, right? You can have it where people can create an account, people can check out, people can subscribe for internet or email marketing. You can search through the content of the website to get exactly what you're looking for, right? So they say a website is really great. Even besides, say, the visuals, you're like, hey, the visuals are great, but if you have a website, usually with that service, you have the analytics. So now you get to see how many people visit every day, right? How many return visitors, I mean, they come from the same internet address, right? IP address, right? Internet protocol address. You could probably get more information and see their age group. May not give their specific age, but may give their age group that they're in, the city that they're located, county, country, etc. Right? All that. You say, hey, that's really good information. So we know that maybe we could try a few things on the website. Right? We can try a few things. One of them is something we call A/B testing. Right? A/B testing is maybe if you had this, you're like, hey, I have this idea. This is going to be on our homepage. It's really pretty, and then maybe you have somebody else working with that. I like this, but it's not exactly what I was thinking. Like, hey, I have a different idea. Like, how about we do this? We let this run for about a week or two, see the traffic, get the analytics from it, and then we'll try the second one. Maybe we'll put the second one and it's like, oh, people like that more, even more traffic. Right? So you kind of do A/B testing. With social media, advertisements, the same as well too. Right? It's a good way of saying like, hey, come up with two distinct sort of visuals, right, that are really going to grab the audience to want to look more into the website or even your social media profile. Test them out and see which one sticks. All right, brief history. Number of users doubled annually in the 90s. Hey, when internet first started out, we hit very slow, like something crazy, like 56 megabytes per second or something. All right, the speed was horrible. You had to wait all day if you wanted to download, upload something. And then as the speed increased and the number of users increased, service providers sort of started to boom, and now everybody kind of had the internet, and it kind of forced the service providers to provide faster service, obviously for a fee, right? And it helped us double, right? We doubled in the 90s with the World Wide Web, right? Giving us addresses, right? .gov, .com, right? www, HTTPS, right? All sorts of places we could go to visit. Became a global medium in the 2000s. An introduction of high-speed broadband that really changed the game, right? Because now you're able to at least watch videos. Before, you had to wait all day just to like watch a 5-minute video. Right? Imagine that. You better forget this and going outside, right? Websites, 50 in 1993 and more than, this is 2018 data, so way more than 2 billion now. So more than 2 billion websites exist as of now, right? You're like, hey, this is, maybe about close to a quarter of the planet has a website, in theory. The audience, one study suggests 25% reduction in watching TV. So people who are watching TV, according to one study, a quarter less than they used to previously, right? Some TV networks maintain popular websites, right? So even the networks say, hey, not only do we have the TV shows, we can give the TV shows their own website, or we may just have a network website. Come to our network, you can look up all the different shows, find what it is you want to look at. Maybe we'll give you little snippets for you to watch 5-minute clips, buy the full episode, and $4.99, perhaps or so, right? So we found a new way to promote new material and get some revenue, right? They found that to be great, right? Be like, hey, I'm coming to network, and I didn't even know all these other shows existed. And now I'm aware of new material that the network has because of the website. And if I'm interested, I may buy, purchase like an episode, or maybe subscribe to the network for some fee. All right, so it's really just a place where you can put everything that is about your brand and get really ingenious about it. One of the more, I would say, recent sort of additions to like retail shopping is the ability to design your own clothing on a lot of the main retailers, fashion retailers, right? I'm a big fan always of Ralph Lauren, right? I buy a lot of Ralph Lauren. And on their website, you can design that, hey, you want to put the pony on this sweater, I want to put crest, you want to add your own sort of logo looking thing, your name, and it's really great. You can see it right there too. It's really interactive, so you know exactly what you're getting. You can put it on a model and see what it looks like on a person. So it's come really great in terms of helping me purchase. All right, who uses the internet? 2.3 billion individuals. More than that. This is 2018 data. We're almost in 2025. So we'd say well over 3 billion people use the internet. It's become better because we're talking about satellites providing internet service all across the planet. I think Elon Musk owns a company that does these sorts of things, as well as Mark Zuckerberg, government agencies as well too. Adoption lags found in certain groups. A lot of older Americans don't use the internet, right? My mom is 89 years old. She tries to use it, but she uses Siri for everything, right? Like, it has its limitations, right? In terms of find everything you want to do, but she really doesn't use it. She still just watches all her old television. Poor Americans, right? I would say this has really evolved though. Practically everybody on the planet has some sort of cell phone over a certain age at this point. Let's well-educated Americans. Maybe we're saying use it in a way that helps advertisers, right? I would maybe say that would be more better descriptive. In rural Americans, right? If you're out in Wyoming, Montana, you may not use the internet as much as others in the urban metropolitan area, right? So we kind of see, hey, it kind of correlates to your environment. If you live a country lifestyle, you probably don't want the noise and chatter of the internet all the time, right? But if you're an urban environment, you probably use it a ton. Men and women, very close in terms of their use. Race, ethnicity, white, black, they're all very much relative, right? Pretty much the same. But like I said, people like my mom, not as much. 66% of those over the age of 65 don't use as much. Household income, right? So we're saying it corresponds to socioeconomic status, right? Percentage is less. And you're like, hey, this is an issue because maybe if you're using it more, you might find some new ways to make money, right? Get yourself out of poverty to some degree. Educational attainment, college plus, 97%, right? Those who work, you know, if you're in college, you absolutely need the internet. There's no way around it, right? If you're not in college, you may not need it, especially depending on what you do for work or whatnot. All right, and then measuring, right? We say, hey, okay, we got great ads, commercials, all these things. We're gonna put it on Instagram, TikTok. Okay, great, right? Did it work? Right? Well, I got a bunch of people that clicked on it. Like, well, what people? Nah, it's just like a broad range of people. Like, well, who was your target audience? Right? It wasn't half of those people. And then I'd be like, well, you kind of missed out on the objective, right? The objective is very specific, right? You're crafting the goal to say, I want to get traffic from these individuals, or I want awareness of something, I want somebody to purchase something, but it has to be crafted for a specific audience, right? So it's good that we have the social media platform. Quickly go on Instagram, look at the analytics page for anything you ever posted and see the traffic. But, oh, I only got like 3 likes on that thing, right? But you're like, well, 3 likes, 1,500 people saw it. The audience was 1,500 people visited that thing I posted, right? And you're like, well, okay, out of the 1,500, who was on my friends list? You're like, okay, people, 8 people from the friends list. And you say beyond that, how many people like, I don't know, whether you're promoting something, engage with the thing that you put up there, right? Give you information for that. So you say you have a ton of information to either say like, hey, I need to change something next time, right? Or this was successful, right? Do you say like, I'm trying to convert something into something. I'm converting a message, a photo, a video, a reel, a short, or something into maybe traffic, awareness, or sales, right? Trying to convert it into something. All right, so we say people access digital content in many ways. Right? So you may access it through Google. Like, I'm going to search through Google. Right? And you go search and say, hey, at the top, I see all these sponsored ads, right? These people are paying Google to be at the top of whatever I search. And you're like, is that good or bad? I don't know, a lot of data suggests that a lot of that's just generic search stuff. And it really doesn't convert into sales to some degree. Or you could be more specific, and we'll kind of get I'll maybe type in something on Google to see how that works, right? Audience is fragmented, right? So we say, hey, you know what, you posted something on one of the platforms, and you just get different type of audiences that you weren't targeting. Enormous amount of data is generated, which is, pros and cons. Privacy issues, right? People stealing your information, the platform's not informing you, you get things like cookies, following your every tracking move on the website or the platform. And then government regulations may impede some of the things. All right, planning tools. Once again, Nielsen. Remember we say, hey, Nielsen is one of the major research corporations in terms of identifying audience watching the TV program, right? Super Bowl's the most watched, the Oscars, things like that. Nielsen can give us, based on the frequency of what the channel you're turning to, it'll take household data and show you exactly who's watching what age group, what socioeconomic status are in, right? Things of that nature. So Nielsen for digital media has desktop meters, right? Kind of looks at information that you placed online is probably being sold in some way, or we gather and say, hey, who are you when you go visit the site? Right, so a desktop meter in order to show things that you viewed on your laptop, tablet, and phone. All right, identifies composition. Composition are those demographics we talked about, and we can see total audience from there. ComScore, a lot of times, Nielsen and other companies, such as even like things dealing with ComScores, they pay individuals to be part of the panel to essentially be tracked, right? And so from there, they could get just a rough sample of the type of people who'll be watching a particular thing or viewing something online, and they can get their information from there too. So they have self-selected consumer panels, in which case they send out money in some way. Maybe a small check in the mail, something to some degree, maybe even some rebates online. ESPN. Who uses ESPN app? Right? ESPN is interesting, right? So whenever there's a pay-per-view situation going on, a big one, right? I open up the ESPN app just to check the scores, see the highlights, and I can't click nothing in the app without first clicking on that pay-per-view. Have you noticed that? Like if there's like a pay-per-view something, a boxing match going on, you open up the app and like it shows you the background, right? Where you click NFL, NBA, blah blah blah. But then it has at the bottom the pay-per-view ad, and it literally won't let me just go directly what I'm looking for without clicking that ad first. It forces you to click on that ad, and then you can X out of it, right? You're like, I'm not interested, X out of it, but like, you still force me to click it, right? Before I can even look at anything else, tap in. You're like, okay, ESPN, right? That's one way, I guess, if you try to promote. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you got some contract with pay-per-view promoters and you're like, oh, you know, certain clicks, you're like, certain clicks. You know, you force me to click on it, right? So I don't know if that will qualify. But it gets interesting, right? So ESPN uses both subscriptions for premium content and advertising to make its popular website profitable, right? Right, so you can subscribe to ESPN Plus and get additional information, different type of highlights, access to different things. Maybe you want to read an interesting article. Oh, that's a ESPN Plus premium article. We can see even these things with YouTube, right? Let's say if you created a YouTube channel and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to get as many views, like, share, subscribe. You're like, oh, it's not really cutting it. How am I gonna get more revenue? You're gonna have to create premium content, which you gotta pay for, right? Like, that's interesting, right? You could just be a YouTuber and you say, hey, if you want the other content, you know, go on our premium site and subscribe to it, right? Pay for it, $2.99 or something. Right, good for ESPN. Right, for the most part, you're coming here to look at data and stories and video highlights. Maybe you'll have the scores of maybe the most prominent season of sports going on right now, whether it be college, basketball, football, things of that nature. Right? They have things like ESPN Plus. Good, but also overloaded too, right? There's quite a bit of information. So usually you're probably just coming here, whatever you're interested in, basketball, football, baseball, that's what you're really looking into. Behavioral targeting, right? You want to track the behavior, right? Think about Amazon Fresh. You're like, whoa, why would they even do that? Couldn't that be like a lot of stuff? Like, man, the greatest information Amazon Fresh is getting is literally tracking human behavior in a grocery store. They could probably not only use that for Whole Foods, which Amazon owns, right? They're like, hey, we can track to see exactly where people go to. We can shorten the distances between the things that they really like, just like we would on the internet, right? We could target them and have something kind of closer in reach on the internet, but in real life at the actual grocery store. That information probably is going to, that, I would say, platforms where you buy and walk out, is probably the future, right? We're constantly, slowly getting rid of POS systems and a checkout person, or something like that. So Amazon Fresh might be the new standard, right? Because it works with them. It's really just high gear technology to see exactly how human behavior, they view something, how many seconds you viewed it for, did you decide to buy it, not decide, you went for something optional, did you look at the price? Right, you get really good information in terms of targeting real human behavior, right? But we want the ability to track people's behavior in order to display unique targeted content, right? So we want to target with crafty messages based on what people look at or like to look at. We do this with cookies, right? Cookies are sort of a program that can track you everywhere you essentially go, track your information. Ad networks, right? So a network of ads that can pop up, internet publications, publishers, right, can go reach you out based on something that you viewed previously. Think of how connected all of this is. You could say, hey, I will sell information about how someone visits our page to a publisher. Right? Like, hey, if they click on something relative to things that we publish in our magazine or anything, give us that information of that individual, and we can also advertise to them too. Randomly, you might start getting pop-up ads. You're like, I'm gonna get one for the New York Times. Right? You may have looked at something that the New York Times felt like from another company they have an agreement with that is relevant. And then we got third-party ad servers, such as DoubleClick and Atlas. Amazon tracking ads, right? Right, come in here, you're going to CNN World to read this article about such and such, right? This and that. And at the top of the banner, you're seeing these ads targeting you, right? Let's say a young adult female, right? You're like, how do they know what I like? Like, oh, these are kind of cute. Maybe I'll go click on that, right? Free shipping. Whoa, interesting, right? And then measuring digital audience, seeking standardization. Most simple measurement is the advertising impression, right? Remember, impression is just how many people viewed it. Ad impression is just how many people viewed it. And then we have things like click-through or click rate. How many people not only viewed it, we know that they saw it, right? It popped up on their screen. We know that it was visually there. But you don't know if someone is interested in unless they clicked on it, right? So there we have things like click-through or click rate, right? And that's what we even saw with the ad. You're like, even here, you're like, yes, you saw everything that's on this page. We can make that assumption. We don't know if you want to do anything or if you're even interested unless you clicked on this, clicked on that link to go read that article, clicked on this one, clicked on that. And now if you even click on the news, you're like, hey, the news got into the skin of the game too. If I click on NASA, India anti-satellite missile test a terrible thing, guess what? I'll start seeing more things from NASA, news-wise. I'm seeing more things from India, right? And I'll start seeing more things about satellite missiles. Because there's an assumption that that's what I'm interested in based on what I actually clicked on. If I click on this one thing. If I clicked on this one, I say new ultrasonic device repels pests, rodents, spiders, roaches away from your home. I click on this, and I want to read this article. Beyond that, I'm going to get a ton of ads related to pest control, right? So it's constantly monitoring your behavior based on what it is you click actually. All right, and buying time and space, some pricing methods, right? You have things like programmatic advertising, that's even so like television and radio. You could make a purchase, an agreement, and it's programmed. Hey, we run this scheduled ad that you bought from Google. You know, we'll place the ad on top of Google every Tuesday, right? Every Saturday or something, once a month, once a week, something of the sort, something where it's programmed, you pay a flat fee. Things like real-time bidding. So let's see, let's go on Google. Let's just type in some keywords, let's see. Right, hey, we went on Google and we say, hey, there's peanut butter. Right, we typed in peanut butter, first thing came up is a bunch of visuals. You're like, hey, I just wanted to learn about peanut butter. Like, yeah, before you could get to any of those websites, you're like, not only that, who paid for top bidding? We're like, first thing pops up, who got the big bucks here? Guess what? Jif has big bucks at the top. Peanut butter. Now, peanut butter is generic, right? You didn't target a specific audience. You didn't say 18 to 35-year-old organic peanut butter users, right? You didn't say anything. All you said was generic old word of peanut butter, right? And who controls the generic ad space for peanut butter? Well, we can see it right here. The big dollars. Jif, Skippy, other Skippy, Skippy Cream, right? Meyer Cream, right? Great Value, which is Walmart, right? So we say, hey, Walmart, Meyer, and Jif and Skippy, right? Go down. Like, oh, whoa, they'll control the second part too, right? Good and Gather, which is Target, right? Like, so Walmart, Target, and then the national brands, right? So we say Targets are the retail, Target and Walmart are retail brands as well as Meijer. Then we got Skippy, Jif, Smuckers, right? Creamy natural peanut butter, and Justin's. You're like, hey, maybe Justin's is really trying to break into the market, so they're spending a ton of ad dollars on Google for these ads because they're trying to compete. Like, oh, Justin's trying to compete with Jif, Skippy, Target, and Walmart. They're really spending a lot of money, right? They're spending a lot of money because they charge so much, $5.29 versus say $2.39. They gotta recoup that money, but they pay the big bucks. Next, when you scroll down, hey, you got the most basic questions that people have searched for, right? The most searched things. Hey, is peanut butter actually good for you? How often is it okay to eat peanut butter? Which peanut butter is best? Does peanut butter need to be refrigerated? Then the things to know. Nutrition, uses, blah, blah, blah. You say, hey, they're good. Let's say you want to break out to, hey, I'm gonna get in the peanut butter business. I'm gonna create organic such and such, such and such. You're like, well, good luck using this on Google. I don't know if it'll convert really to sales because you're probably paying, these are probably paid for clicks. And the more clicks you get as a company, the cheaper that Google charges you. So at the beginning, they're gonna charge you $1 a click. It could possibly be like $1, like, it's a lot, right? Because you're like, I don't know if it really converted, but maybe it did. Maybe like, hey, since we put on Google, we've made 4 times the amount of sales, so keep the Google thing going. Or maybe not. You're like, well, we went on Google, but unfortunately we come up so far at the bottom, right? Members Mark, natural, creamy. We say the average user, you know, we're all kind of lazy, we don't have time to do all that. We didn't even scroll this far. So I'm sorry, Members Mark, right? I didn't even know that it exists. I still know that all these people, well, I know that Jif exists because they're at the front 2 lines. And I'm not looking at deep in the peanut butter. Right? But unfortunately, you didn't make the cut. So it may not work, right? Now, if you say, let's change it, That's just a generic word, peanut butter. Where specific is better, right? Let's say organic. What else is peanut butter usually? I'm saying. Alright, maybe do organic peanut butter. Hey, what time is it? Oh, alright, we'll stop. Okay, and then we say organic peanut butter. Hey, something came up different. Whoa, okay, so it's completely different. No more Jif, no more Skippy like, Jif or Skip like that. You're like, oh, okay, look at this. Whole different set of things. Alright, so you say, when you're using Google Ads, you have to be very specific in how you craft. You have to do what we call search word research, right? You have to actually research to see which words, specific type of words, will allow your messaging to come up at the top so that it makes sense to pay that amount of money for Google. All right, we'll finish this back on Thursday. Yeah, work on those Instagram assignments relative to Sergio's and Johnny's. Let's see how creative you can get. Create an ad, right? Maybe you, by Thursday, maybe possibly you have something to show. Okay, great. All right, have a great day, everyone.